That's on its way.
Awesome.
Sure.
Oh, give it over here.
I hear a lot of notifications
Come on
going
in,
off.
sparklers.
So I think that
Come on in,
I
sparklers.
think we have
All are
liftoff
welcome
here.
in
Just
the light.
checking everybody.
Crossover, children.
We are on everywhere.
day.
We're doing it. All right, let's do this thing. This is going to be an epic
Don't
show.
feel like you have to bring me in until you're meant to.
You're
I'm
coming
happy
in.
to hang in the background. I was just being proper.
No. You're fine. You're coming in right away.
Yes.
I'm hearing lots of...
What?
There it is. It's the Tara Show music. I hear it. That means we're going. It means it's happening. It's happening right now.
Oh my.
Lots of audio going on. I'm hearing it all in my headphones. That means the show
Guess
is
who's here?
starting. Oh,
Woo.
yeah.
You can't just...
I can't tell if that's the Big Lebowski dance or
Yeah.
the Dangerfield Caddyshack
Oh,
dance.
you know what's happening also? My audio is going, I don't need that. I don't need... Oh, my God.
What is it doing?
There it is.
Why are we
I
having all
had
these
Going
to
technical-
crazy.
Shh. I had my YouTube open and
Oh.
the sound was on. It is no
All
longer
right.
on.
It's
Now we're
no.
here.
There's no
now.
excuse.
Great.
Mm-mm.
Now,
Oh, do I
don't
have
wreck
to
the
remind
show
you what
for us,
happened on
Dublin. Don't wreck it.
Excuse me. Do I have to remind Hal Sparks about the technical difficulties of last Monday? Do I have to? Do I
No.
have to remind
Oh,
you
No,
of
not at
the
all.
Lev harness incident? No. Anyway,
Oh.
friends are here. Sparklers and others, welcome to the Tara Show. Hal Sparks, the meat in the Tara sandwich. Hal
Look
Sparks is our
out.
very
Nope.
first guest.
I'm blushing,
I'm
really, thinking of
I'm salty right now. It's maybe
Well,
I'm
thank
the
you very much.
you got one size of
you.
challah over here, and you've got Irish soda bread over there, and you got Hal Sparks in the middle, and it's a special
You
edition.
can't go wrong.
No. This is going to be a good
It's
show.
a special edition. It's a very special episode of the Tara Show because today, my friends, is the 10-year blockversary. 10 years ago today, Donald Trump blocked me on Twitter and has never unblocked me because he's a fucking coward. Thin-skinned, traitorous, cowardly, convicted, felon, adjudicated, rapist, pedophile, friend of Epstein. Afraid of 5'0" little Tara Dublin. Sitting here in her house behind a screen going, you're a liar, you're a this, you're a that. And he was like, no, blah. So,
How do you think he's
That's
celebrating? Do you think he's marking it in a special way?
yes, he's surveying
yes,
his kangaroo.
he's got a brand new bruise.
Oh,
Yeah.
happily. I love it. Where? Did you really? I don't
It's
tease me over here.
It's on top.
Don't tease
It's on top of the old one. Like it got worse. It got worse. They covered the old one with makeup. I'm not kidding. They covered the old one with makeup. They decided to take the makeup off because they thought it was fine. And then you can see like the how hard it was to get the makeup off his skin. His skin is all hashed and dry from putting so
geez.
much makeup on it. And now there's a worse bruise on top of it that's kind of swollen. I'd show it, but I feel like it's
wow.
it'll nauseate.
Okay,
He got a
we've shared it.
bruise
We've shared
but he got a bruise from the makeup. Probably they were applying the makeup, and that probably
Right, so hard.
exacerbated.
Yeah.
Well,
no
They're
doubt.
using like one of
Also,
those car
it was-
sprayers.
Yeah, and if you're repeatedly washing your hands, that also makes them dry. So, but to me, it
He's
looked
a man
Man
like,
gets his
and we
makeup
talked
done
about
at Earl Shab. At Earl Shab.
you can get your hands done for $59.95. We talked about
That's
this
right.
on Hal's show on Monday, but it's like, why doesn't the man is 79 years old? Why hasn't anyone taught him to blend his foundation? And it's like and Hal said that maybe he just rummages around in Caroline's makeup bag and found her foundation.
Yes.
Oh, he
which
loves
I think
her.
Yeah, look at her face.
her
Look at her
foundation
face.
was-
I stand by it.
right? And her foundation is in shade. We love being white, and they just slap it on
think
there,
it's-
and no one
I
teaches
found
them
the
to blend.
picture.
Thank
I
you
think the
so
picture.
much. Loving it.
I think the
Loving
tone
it.
she uses, ever more white is the idea. Like
Ever
a
white.
whiter than I am, whiter than I'll ever be is the and then ever white is her tone.
She's going for that
She's holding up and goes,
Casper-friendly
"Yeah,
ghost.
one
wrong."
day. Yeah, right.
They're doing it wrong. What they need
I
to
have
do
a
is
theory.
color correct.
These are not
and then
Caucasians. These are
color.
jellyfish.
No, clearly. No one thought to foundation match to his skin. Just take him to Ulta. They put your hand under a thing. It goes boop. And then it tells you what
look at that.
foundation you
Really?
should buy and what conceal. Yeah.
I should
Yeah,
go
or
there
they hold it up to your face.
immediately.
I've done that. It's like they have like an app where they put it either in front of your face or on your skin, and they tell you, here's a skincare product that would work for you, and here's an under eye concealer, and then you go and spend $500. So I would posit that they could do that with him, because if he could walk around the streets of Baltimore, oh wait a minute, he's not doing that either, because he doesn't even walk between golf
Is he?
holes. Hey Hal, what? Oh, remember. He was going to walk the streets of Baltimore and West.
No.
Like, we're going to what now? No, you're
He's
not.
No, the mayor.
This is what Nero
the
did.
The details.
Yeah.
The mayor of Baltimore invited him to walk around Baltimore so he could see it and why he wouldn't need National Guard. And Trump, can't walk. He should have just said waddle or stagger.
Shuffle?
Maybe Trump would have taken him up on it. It's like, I can't walk. I can just do this kind of like lazy right foot, like yellow beard looking for hidden treasure. Stagger, roll, stagger left, stagger right. And so Trump said, it's too unsafe for me to walk around.
Unsafe. Is it
Baltimore.
really? Oh,
yeah,
please.
because someone might say something untoward to him.
Yeah, that's it.
And it might get, and he might get a cramp in his nunt, and it'll.
Yeah, it's unsafe for him to walk around because he might fall over and not be able to get back up.
That would be beautiful.
Right.
Those cankles, man. Those cankles are something. And
it's coming. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That's why he's behind the resolute desk all the time.
Terra 1 and Terra 2.
Sorry. Wait. No,
That's
you're there.
okay.
You're
I don't
still
mind
there. I
being the
hit the
voice.
I hit the wrong button.
The voice from beyond.
The voice of God.
I'm like the Prince of Darkness, like a hideout.
Wow, that's a good one.
Wow. Man,
He does an
come
excellent
on,
Ozzy.
You just gotta learn how to love and forget how to hate, man. I have a theory. Yes, we love Ozzy. We're doing a celebration of his life on September 23rd for the Ultimate Jam Night. We're doing a tribute to Ozzy, and I will stand by this. And feel free to at me. Ozzy was the metal's greatest gospel singer, because if you actually listen to his songs, he was a very faithful man, and he was actually a very peaceful man. And crazy. The idea of going on the crazy train was learning how to love and forgetting how to hate is crazy in this world. And think about the lyrics of that. Like, eat that, John Lennon.
What about the lyrics to Mama, I'm coming home? Mama, I'm coming home.
It's very sweet.
We did that at Lobar Corral in honor of Ozzy because, I've done some, he's done things right and wrong, and he just wants to be home with Mama, and it's beautiful. And then at the end, we all yelled Sharon, and it was a beautiful moment. Anyway,
I actually met Ozzy, everybody. So okay. And I guess I can.
That's a brag. That's a brag.
I am bragging. Well, it was in the community of recovering people. I guess I can, out his anonymity since he's already, passed over. Am I violating a tradition? Maybe. I guess.
I don't think
know.
so.
No.
I think people know that Ozzy wrestled with his sobriety attack.
Yeah. No, he was funny. He was amazing. And I always remember this 70-something-year-old lady who was kind of, this old-timer in the meeting. After Ozzy shared, this old lady was like, listen, young man, the action is in here, not out there. And she had no idea that she was talking to Ozzy Osbourne.
I appreciate where you're coming from, but I licked Nikki Sixx's urine off of a pool deck in North Hollywood.
She had no
when
idea.
I was 27. So, lady, I appreciate it, but whatever you've got, just tell your worst story, and I'll top it with a dead animal that I ate half of.
That was it.
Really.
Right. Yeah. What he did that morning would top it.
It was amazing.
I know.
Yeah. It's the greatest moment of my life, watching that interaction.
That's an indie film
it
right
was funny.
there.
The action's in here, young man, not out there.
Oh, my goodness. But Hal, we have been living with this blight on humanity for a decade. And today on my Substack, I wrote about that it's not just my 10-year anniversary of being blocked by Trump, But the way that he has impacted our society in this last decade, and if Devlin wants to pull it up, that's fine. But
where is
I
it?
went back and I found
I was looking
on
for
my
it.
it's on my Substack, but also I tweeted some things because what I did was I went back and I went back to 2015 on YouTube and on Twitter, and I was just searching like stuff from this month 10 years ago. And the shit that I found is stuff that we have absolutely forgotten about because he is so, the slow boil that increased. I found Karl Rove saying 10 years ago that Trump can't win a general election. I found Matt Schlapp saying that Hillary Clinton could easily beat Trump. I found footage of them saying that Bernie would easily beat Trump and that the Republicans would rather run against Hillary Clinton. I found all of that shit too. And it's abnormal. But the one tweet that I found that like really shook me of all of them was the one where Trump, I almost found where he started bullying the press. Because he said that the press conference wasn't presented. They presented it wrong. And my response was, no, they showed you for who you are or whatever it was. So I was Newsoming him while Newsom was still mayor of San Francisco. And that's what eventually led to my block. But go back 10 years. Look at what journalism was compared to the shitassery that Scott Jennings is doing on the daily. And it shows you how far we have fallen as a society and what the press has allowed him to do to them. Because they should have been pushing back then and there and never given him an inch. So...
I agree. Okay, Scott Jennings is a terrible example, I think, because he's a panel member that's supposed to represent the right wing. And in an actual society where we actually still had journalism, having when you're having a roundtable discussion, having the edges of or the true believers at the table makes sense. Whatever almost the entire table dealing in reality is against whatever you would say. So it's not that weird. It's like that I'm sure we feel to Scott Jennings the way they feel like on Fox towards Jessica Tarloff on the 5, right? When she just mops the floor with them. It's the opposite, ironically. Right? But I will say that we do ourselves some damage when we use grandiose terms like everybody, nobody, everything, anything, those kind of things. When in actuality, when in actuality, there's quite a lot of work being done. The Daily Beast literally just started, and I wouldn't call them sort of legacy media, but they're certainly like right up there. They count amongst the normal news sites now because they've been around long enough. And, they've got a regular podcast that airs on their site now with Michael Wolff called Inside Trump's Brain, where they pick apart the Epstein files and his relationship with all these awful people. And that's something, had it been done in 2015, this would be a whole different conversation. And I have to say, our job right now, the DNC has one job. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face, because as much as a lie repeated becomes the truth repeated becomes like legend. And people need to remember this, is that the DNC has one fucking job. One job. Turn red districts purple, purple districts blue. Nobody gets points right now for making a blue district bluer. I don't care who you are. It's a waste of time and a waste of ink. If you could have gotten a bluer person there, then do it now or later. That won't matter. Until we have the votes to change something, the extremities of the party aren't going to matter to the equation anyways, because we're going to have to lock arms no matter what anybody believes. If you want some diversity in the party, you need 60 votes in the Senate. You need 60% of the House, and you need the presidency. So if you really do want the extra voices like the Squad and others to matter in the equation and really start getting stuff through as part of powerful policy that changes people's lives, you need the room to do it. You don't need a narrow margin where you can stand there and go, I don't dare, and become basically what Nick Fuentes is now threatening to do over the 600,000 Chinese students, which is withhold 1 million votes next year. And they're going to do it. So we should learn the lesson not to follow them down that path. The other part is that if we had touted with pride the things that Democrats create, when they come out, as much as we decry their dismantling, we wouldn't be in this position.
Absolutely.
If we had been as proud of the Department of Education this whole fucking time, we wouldn't be going, oh my God, they're getting rid of it, because we took it for granted. We did. That's what we can fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, the people, the American people, had no response to the Republicans or the Democrats had no response to when the Republicans attack government schools and things like that.
Right.
And talking about the Department of Education, when the obvious response, how I see it, is they should have pointed out, well, there they go again, attacking the pillars of democracy. Because you need, if in order to have a free functioning society, you need education. You need the people to be educated. So there they go again, attacking, democracy.
I think there's even a cleaner hit you can do on that, which is they only want schools for rich elite kids. They want private schools or no school at all. You can either work in a sweatshop or you can be born rich. This is the America that Republicans want.
That's it.
It's that cut and dry. And we left that on the table. We left the Department of Education and all the benefits of public education on the table for them to slaughter so much that Trump could come up and say, I love the uneducated.
Yes.
And his people applauded, right? We had ceded that ground so far.
Yep.
Right. And so the lesson of all of this is, where he brags, we can actually have real pride.
Mm-hmm.
And it is time to recognize the accomplishments of the Democratic Party and stand up for them. Because, by the way, Republicans are having to do it. They can't cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security the way they want to because there's too much pushback from red states that need it the most.
But they're trying.
And same thing with school.
Yeah, they just
but they're
Obamacare
failing.
was just saved yet again by a court ruling, and I was actually just doing some research on that because it's not getting any attention in the press. That once again a court said that no, sorry, you can't do away with health care for in this particular instance 2.2 million people. That's who would have lost health care if they won this suit. But they're doing it, and the corporate media is not covering it at all.
Well, and that's a good point. Devlin, if you scroll a little bit further down in my profile, you'll see some of the tweets that I brought back from 2015 that maybe want to just eat my own fist because it's all the same stuff that we're talking about now, but it is the root of when it began. When it was like, oh my God, he said that. Oh my God, he tweeted that. Oh my God. And then nothing was done about it afterwards. There were there was the pearl collecting, and then the Republicans were like, "Come on, he's just a big joke,"
Right. Well, that was the thing, was that the entire reaction could be tracked to the Washington Free Beacon, which was the paper that actually started gathering on behalf of Republicans. Started gathering compromise and opposition research on Trump to keep him from rising to the top, and they're the ones who hired Christopher Steele through the Fusion GPS or whatever.
The dirty dossier.
And they they started that. They bought it, and then they were like, "Well, he's ahead now, so we're not going to go with it." They got they gathered all the stuff, and they're like, "He's too far ahead of everybody else. We can't be caught going against the lead Republican. Period. Even if he's a rapist and a pedophile and Jeffrey Epstein's wingman and a fraud and a clown and a buffoonish and dangerous and all this stuff. We can't do it because he's in the lead." And that's what they did. They just held it. And so Fusion GPS and the what?
Nothing. I'm directing her while you're talking. You're good. You keep talking.
Oh, gotcha.
Stay
okay.
there.
So Fusion GPS sells. They go, okay. Well, if the Washington Free Beacon's not going to do it, we can sell it to the Clinton campaign. So they bring it over to the Clinton campaign, and the Clinton campaign goes, rightly so, because you won by 3 million votes. We don't have to run stuff about pee-pee stories and undermine him this way and get caught doing that to win the race. We trust the American people. Blah blah blah. And they had it, but they wouldn't put it out. So one of her lawyers on the team goes, you don't understand. There's criminal activity here. He's involved with the Russians. He's messing with our election. This guy is on the hook to Vladimir Putin.
Wow.
This is beyond just like pee-pee tape stuff.
Yeah.
The dude's got control of him. We have to take this to the FBI. So Hillary, one of the lawyers at the firm that was handling the Clinton campaign, went, I don't care what you guys think. I'm taking this to the FBI with Christopher Steele. And they went over there and walked it in there. And that's how all the, quote, Russiagate nonsense, like, is just garbage. And if they want to relitigate this, if they want to bring all the people, Obama, everybody, have a trial about this and depositions, that's exactly what they're going to find. They're going to find that this was Republican opposition research to get rid of a pariah within their own party, and then they fell in line. And then even Clinton thought it was true prurient to release and figured he was going to lose anyways, and if there was a crime to be looked after, the DOJ under her could take care of it. They took for granted the 30 years, I think, that the Republicans had been beating on Hillary Clinton ever since she was responsible for S-chip, and they hated her for that so much they put a target on her back the entire time. This woman is going to give insurance to children. She must be stopped.
Right.
And I don't think they understood. And the ubiquitous vein of misogyny, it is not overt, by the way. Kamala Harris got a shit ton of votes. So did Hillary Clinton. America's not a misogynistic country, but there is a vein of it, not just in the Republican white crowd, but in blacks and Hispanics and in Asians and in Middle Easterners who live in this country who are never going to vote for a woman.
That's it.
I don't care if it means they're going to somebody rounds up their own children.
Clearly.
They're not going to vote for a woman in charge. And that's exactly what happened the second time. And the reality isn't that, the vast majority of Americans don't think we should have a female leader. That isn't the case. But there's a statistically significant number of them in each party that carves off the top. And there are independents that are no-goes. One of the things that, you could argue that Sarah Palin cost McCain as much as he gave her in terms of voters, because Republicans literally he's old. If he dies, we got a woman president. Are you out of your mind? That was it. That was enough. They would rather have a black man, than
a gay man,
woman in charge. Right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
not an out.
The reason I asked you to, Pete Buttigieg,
because they don't get. I'll tell you what. Okay, they wouldn't. I'll tell you why. Because Republicans,
as VP, they would. If it was a Newsom Buttigieg ticket, I think that would do very well.
Democrats would do great. Absolutely. I'm talking about Republicans. Republicans will never vote for a gay male over a woman in this case, because they actually think that their picture of. You have to understand how they view gay men. It's based in misogyny.
Yes.
Why any man
that's homophobia
that would
in
want
general.
to quote debase himself
by
okay. First of all, I don't believe in homophobia. I think that's an overused term. I don't think these are phobias. These people aren't afraid. Yeah. They're assholes. They're bigots. It's bigotry, and they're not afraid that they're gonna there's a gay tractor beam or something that's gonna turn their kids gay. That's not what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. They think it will spread like wildfire. Now, when it's Lindsey Graham and they believe this, it's because who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, you look at it; it looks like so much fun, right? But
they suppress urges is what happens.
The straight ones. There's a variety of reasons, but the vast majority is that any man that would act like a woman is weak. That's the root of it. That's why that's the Charlie Kirk version of things. Yeah. And women are bad enough, but they would vote for a woman like Hillary Clinton, who is postmenopausal and arguably has more testosterone than they do, before they would vote for a gay man.
That's right.
This is the calculations these assholes go through. I'm not kidding you. This is how they talk about this
stuff. I know. But the reason I asked Devlin to freeze it there, and you don't have to play it if you don't want to, but I encourage people to go look for it, because the MSNBC, it's Lawrence O'Donnell, it's Matt Schlapp and Jared Bernstein, and woman from Voto Latino.
It's an 8-minute clip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I said you don't have to play it. You do not.
I clicked on it.
Okay.
Sue me.
Okay, relax. I'm not suing. I'm just trying to get
on her block-iversary, isn't she? Just because it's her block-iversary doesn't mean, she gets the bosses
around. This is why women
around.
don't run things. Sorry.
Shut the fuck up.
You son of a bitch.
In that interview from 10 years ago, they are talking about 2016. They are expecting Joe Biden to declare his candidacy, which he never does. But one of the things that Matt Schlapp says he didn't because he was taking care of his dying son. So so Matt Schlapp says on this recording, you can go find it, that in that moment, Democrats were united. We had already anointed Hillary. We were united behind her, and Republicans had no clue. What he said in that moment was, Democrats are acting like Republicans and Republicans are acting like Democrats. Democrats have anointed a leader that they are united behind, and Republicans are running around with no clue. Republicans have no clue. And that we are in the reverse, in the upside down of that, is the slow boil of the press and the right-wing propaganda funneled from Russia and those talking points. And what we need to do is turn this back around. And I'm not saying Matt Schlapp is ever going to speak truthfully ever again because he's closeted and he doesn't want people knowing about that. But what I'm saying is...
his closet door got kicked open.
Forget it. That is what J.B. Pritzker is talking about, bringing back to the nation. Say the truth. Say the truth regardless of who it's about. Say the truth regardless of who you work for. Say it. And so there's Matt Schlapp talking about Republicans not having a clue. That was 10 years ago. For me, this 10 years of the slow boil that got a little more rapid over the last couple of months, here is proof that as a nation, we are capable of handling our business and not letting another ingrate baboon, as my esteemed partner calls him, take over again. But it's going to take a huge effort. And you talk about the DNC. They need to be aware of how far we've fallen from that.
Well, I think they must be aware.
As does the press.
But it is the press, I believe, that has, when they write the history of this time, the press is not going to come out looking rather well. That's for sure. It's the corporate media. Money and politics is the root of all this evil, and the consolidated media that gives us these silos of information where we have one half the country literally consuming right-wing influencers who are funded by the Kremlin and a channel that had to pay the largest fine against the media company for lying to its viewers, in American history. And that's another thing that the Democrats need to repeat. This is why it drives me mad that they, like you're saying, Hal, that the Democrats really have to get a hold of this message unapologetically and go for it. Tell the truth about the Republicans and Fox News and what we are up against and the lie machine that's out there. Like with the shooting that happened yesterday, yet another shooting. As we know, the Republicans were giddy as kids on Christmas morning when they found out who the perpetrator was. Even though it has nothing to do with, as we know, 98% of mass shootings are white men, cis white men commit these crimes, but that doesn't matter. They would lie about it anyway because they have a long history of calling all mass shooters trans. But that is even besides the point. The fact that they could get weapons, that we have this situation in America where we basically allow, not just basically, but we it's a shame. It's a disgrace. We allow children to go to church, school, not just children, everybody. We can't go anywhere to be safe before, you got to figure out where you're going to duck when the bullets start flying. If you go to the goddamn grocery store, it's and how do we allow this to continue? The whole thing is a moral bankruptcy.
Okay, sure. Here's the issue that I've really been focusing on lately, is that we have spent a lot of time in response to the tone set by Republicans. That when they attack all immigrants as criminals and psychopaths and all that kind of stuff, our response has been all 99% of immigrants are lovely and safe and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that is materially untrue. And it does, and not by much. It might be 87%. But because it's materially untrue, it drags us onto their ground. They get to set the tone for the argument. And what we end up doing is defending everybody because they're attacking everybody. Right. And you don't have to do that. What you can do is attack them for their hypocrisy and their lying and their business interests and all this kind of stuff. And you don't have to pretend that Donald Trump's stuff about, asylum seekers actually coming from asylums and he doesn't understand what the fuck that means, or that they're all criminals and murderers and some of them are nice people, which is an inversion of the numbers, which is what he does, right? That's how by the way, that statement, and some of them I assume are nice people, he's dropped that entirely. But back then, that was a tip of the hat to the actual statistic in reverse. Yeah. Like that's what he was doing. He was drawing drawing the people who are against this and who see it for the racist bullshit that it is out onto the field to argue on his terms. And you can't do that. And the lesson that people need to learn is that whenever they set these things up, whether it's about trans rights or immigration or crime or any of these other things, you have to understand that you've got the actual attack, the point that works, is what's actually happened in the sidelines. Look at people like Nick Fuentes and others who are flipping out about Trump and stuff because he's not living up to this. He's not going to. Like the idea that farmers are just going to be on the honor system hiring immigrants and they'll just, I don't know how any of this shit works and nobody else does either. That like, I guess if you hire a worker and they rape and murder someone, you go to jail and they get a free ticket home back to Argentina is the theory. It's so bizarre and stupid, right? But he created that system and the maggots are flipping out about it and because they were lied to.
Yes.
So we don't have to go this argument about we get drawn into these humanity arguments because it's what we care about. We start arguing what we give a shit about. Republicans don't give a shit about that. And if you're gonna disenfranchise their voters or demoralize them or get them to not vote or eventually maybe even convert to your side, you've got to talk to them on their terms. And what their terms ultimately are is what we all know is that he's lying to you. There isn't going to be mass deportations. Alligator Alcatraz is being shut down this week. It's going to have 0 people in it within a week.
Right.
It was always a farce. There aren't 25 million people in this country for him to get rid of. Right. There aren't this number he told you were here. If they were here, it would be very easy for him to fill up bus loads and plane loads of these people and just be shoveling them back into other countries, but he can't. He's got to pick on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Why do you know his name if there are 25 million people worth getting out of the country? Right. If 25 million murdering psychopaths have flooded into the country, how the fuck do you know the name of a single one of them?
Is that the best you can do? They're like, oh, he has a domestic violence charge, and so... That's the best you can do.
You're still arguing their point.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
saying.
My
point is you're still letting him set his point. What you need to do is go, dude, the only reason you know his name is because the mass deportation stuff was bullshit.
Mass deportation is not one dude.
Because they don't give a fuck about the humanity of people. They don't give a fuck about this.
Yes.
But what you want to do is make them recognize you can share a truth. Okay, so how Alex Jones works and how all these conspiracy guys work is they share a truth and then spackle on their own bullshit to it. That's where they start arguing about common sense when they actually mean a common misconception. This is how you get flat earthers, because when you go outside, it kind of looks flat, like even if you squint, right? I can see buildings really far in the distance. It must not be, right? It's just the limits of my eyes, not the earth curving, right? I'm serious. That's how it works. So they take the common sense, the common misconception based on your eyes, which are your fucking eyes, right? They go, look, what are your eyes telling you, right? That's the whole thing. Okay. So they use that, and then they attach to it, okay, not only is it not round and it's flat, but we're being kept here by black helicopters, and NASA is part of a big scheme by the lizards to, turn us all into milkshacks.
And they drink
that's where they go. So they spack.
Yeah.
That's right. They attach all that stuff. Everybody, by the way, can I just say, the easiest one with the adrenochrome thing, especially now, is like, why is everyone who they said was taking adrenochrome aging like fucking like sushi
like a
on a
fucking
windowsill?
Banana, right?
Right. They all, like, I'm sorry, like, is Hillary Clinton doing cartwheels? Where, what
exactly.
part of this? It's so nuts. And they're
all
like
of it is
De Niro,
nuts.
all these other people. Anybody, Tom Hanks,
all
right?
Of it.
But
yes,
you have to let it be nuts and then drop it like a dog turd in a paper bag on fire on their doorstep and then walk away. The problem is that we want them, and I understand this. I understand we want to engage. We want them to understand it on our terms.
We want them to
but they
see
ain't
the light,
yet.
you know, like like, holy shit, you're
no,
on.
You don't need to see
You're not there yet.
This will be the quote. Thank you for that, Tara Devlin. This will be the quote of the show. You don't need them to see the light. You need them to see the lie.
I
That's
like
good.
it.
That's really good.
You're never going to
write that down.
You're never going to convert them.
I'm writing it.
But you got
it.
Yeah.
The lie.
It down.
I do that though, and hey,
you're never going to get them to see the light.
Take my shit off the
they
screen.
need to see
You don't
the
need
lie,
to
right?
put my stuff up and put it back. I was gonna say, what I have been doing also in my discussions is I've been saying, like to the real people who troll me, not the fake accounts I never respond to, but the real ones. I'm like,
sure.
Just on Epstein, how many times are you gonna let him lie to you just about Epstein? He said he was gonna release them. He still hasn't released them. He said they were a hoax, but they're real. He said that they released binders, but there was nothing in the binders. It's on her desk. It's not on her desk. Just last Friday, again, he said it was a Democrat hoax. How many times are you going to let him lie to you? Like, he's lying to you. I mean, just about you don't want to believe he lied to you about anything else. He's definitely lying to you about this. And I can show you. Here he is talking about it. Here he is saying it. And you're like, cry more.
No. So, again, one of these things is you're still doing it on your terms because you see a fact and it replaces a lie or a lack of information in your head. That's how you process information. You see a piece of information that's legit, true, and you go, okay, I'm going to add that to the pile. I'm not going to bullshit myself anymore. Here's an example I will give you. Not them. I'm talking about you. This is how you do it. You actually.
No, I know.
Yeah.
You're talking. I'm giving invisible signals to Devlin that she doesn't need to scroll anymore, and she can put us back side by side. You are talking.
Okay.
I'm listening.
All right. You have Ecamm. I know you're using Ecamm. There's a little chat window that you can open up. It's the private chat, by the way. You don't have to do hand signals. Yeah. You can have it up on the window, and you guys can both see it.
I don't.
And it's you're welcome.
We do.
Thank you. Yeah,
Where?
I need to. You need to give me
I'll give you a rundown of it.
Tips and tricks because you got some cool stuff.
It's all the way in the corner of my laptop.
This is
so it would look weird.
This is an example. This is a direct example using. See, that's what
you're still here. You're still here.
It's okay. I just felt left out. Okay, this one's for.
This is how
this
I
one's
happens.
for Tara Dublin's.
This
is an example. This is an example of what I'm talking about, but on our side. Mass shooters. 50% of mass shooters are white. Statistically.
Yes.
50%. Whites are 61% of the populace. Blacks are the second biggest group. African Americans are the second biggest group, about 25 to 27%, vacillating, of mass shootings. They are 13% of the population. So they are half the size of the population. Per capita, they are responsible for twice as many as they are. Whites are responsible for 10% less than they actually are. Asians are responsible for like 5.6%, which interestingly enough is almost directly in line with their population in the country. Hispanics and Latinos, 8 to 10%. They're actually less. So if in a group, whites and Hispanics have fewer per capita mass shooters in their crowd than blacks and Asians in how the statistic works out. Now, what does that detail tell you? Fucking nothing. It doesn't tell you anything about how to stop a mass shooting, except like you have to subcategorize what kind of shooters you get. Most of the mass shooters in the black community largely showed up because we started categorizing all gang shootings or drive-bys where 3 or more people were struck as a mass shooting. The same thing when we qualified serial killers that way. So statistically, black people went in the mass shooting index through the fucking roof.
Oh, wow.
In line with the availability of guns, but also because we started categorizing anything as a mass shooting as over 3 people.
Yes.
And and obviously the attempted mass shooting where you attempt, like get into that category, like black people will get up into a higher category. Now, again, we had this person yesterday who's allegedly trans, and I say allegedly because it's all over the map in the description of it and whatever.
Yeah,
and but insofar, right? Yeah. But the trans part of them is immaterial to apparently the rest of the hate that they felt, and what the rest of the hate they were expressing sounds a lot more like the anti-Zionist Columbia protester shit that we heard before, which is why you don't talk that way, which is why you don't meet violence with violence. Is why you know in a political sense you can self-defense is one thing, and it's why we have this muck-up of why Trump thinks Ukraine started the fucking war. Or people think that NATO expansion was the start of the war. No, self-defense is self-defense, and that is the only justifiable physical act of fighting that I believe is completely justified. Okay, so the statistical aspect of this, you would not solve the Aurora shooter issue the same way you would solve gangbang drive-bys. You would also not solve it the way you would solve like Michigan inter-party Muslim honor killings,
right?
Where somebody shoots their family or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like homelessness. I'm embarrassed by how we talk about homelessness in this country, as if they're a fucking tribe,
right?
As if there's a permanent state, as if homeless people are homeless people. They're not. They're people who are currently homeless, right? There are, and people phase in and out of it all the time. The number that we have of homeless people is not constant, but for about maybe, depending on what part of the country you're in. California, it's probably like 60% of the homeless are constantly homeless, and the rest phase in and out. Whereas New York and stuff, it's like they're always new because winter murders people when they sleep outside.
Yep.
Right? So, but the varying reasons why people become homeless are myriad. They're almost as individual as the person involved. But the idea that you're going to give somebody with massive schizophrenia a haircut and cap teeth and get them a job, and train them is absurd, and it's embarrassing, and it's degrading to the person who is mentally ill. On the other side, the idea that anybody who's on the margins can't get services because the community thinks of them all as drug addicts and stuff when they just got evicted because of COVID and all kinds of other shit. Fuck their business, or their factory closed, or those kind of things, and then they get lumped in with the insane people you see walking down the street because Reagan killed all the institutions, because Republicans literally thought, I mean, you talk about the first time a conspiracy theory worked its way into legislature. Think about the fact that Reagan shut down the institutions, not just because they were a drag on federal dollars or any of that kind of stuff, but because increasingly neocon Christians in the Republican Party, a very specific wing who helped elevate him to that point, believed that eventually Democrats who are communists, who are going to do what the communists did, which is round up anybody who's religious as mentally ill, which is what Ayn Rand prescribed, and put them in institutions and lobotomize them. And they believed this, since Francis Farmer and the lobotomies of anybody who had too much personality. They believed this shit, and they told it from the pulpit. Yes. And and so they shut all these buildings down because they were convinced. And what came after? FEMA camps. Alex Jones FEMA camps. You want to expand the federal government's ability to respond to emergencies? And let me be really specific about this, because this drives me fucking crazy. Do you know why Alex Jones, what his linchpin was in going after FEMA, was that he saw a video of them creating these tubs that they would use to hold bodies after an emergency instead of body bags, because during Katrina there were so many dead that when they stacked the bodies on the bottom got crushed, and the families had to bury their families with closed caskets, not because of what happened to them in the flood or what happened, but that their body was crushed under a bunch of others. So FEMA decided, hey, why don't we get human-sized storage bins in case we need them, stack them someplace, and if we have a mass death thing, at least people can bury their fucking loved ones. And Alex Jones turned that into, they're going to scoop you up and put you in a FEMA camp, these are coffins for conservatives. And right. And that, in those situations, you can't kind of chase that down. You just have to wait for it to be bullshit and then mock them.
Wow.
That's the only way that works. When they're in the QAnon fever dream,
that's true.
They'll never get out of it.
Yeah, how do you respond?
Everybody needs to, I'll tell you what you do. Whatever, bro. That's, honest to God, some version thereof.
Mock it.
You're fucking,
cool story, bro.
You're fucking
Trust
panicking.
me, bro. Yeah.
Well, even
and it's...
okay. The whatever is very important to it. Because trust me, bro, and stuff is getting you in the argument again. And I know Tara Dublin loves her some arguing. So it's like you're always finding, and it's interesting in your language. You're always finding a needle.
The response is, no, I stole that from our friend Noah that I met at the DNC. Yeah. Noah, young King Noah. He's like, so your argument is just trust me, bro? That's a great response. Because if you don't have any facts, and you're just spewing, then I'm supposed to trust you? No, because you're coming at me with propaganda. That's the response.
I honest to God, that you're still engaged with them. And that's what's crucial about this, is that we have taken their arguments so seriously. You know, when you're talking about how the news isn't doing their job in treating this like the insanity that it is. One of the reasons why is because there are a lot of working parts in this. The government actually still exists. USAID has been folded under the State Department. A lot of it is bullshit. The president is responsible to the courts, no matter what he blathers about or what our fear is that Kilmar Borrego Garcia got brought back to the fucking country, and a judge is keeping him from being deported to Uganda, and that's going to stand up. And it's not just going to stand up because we're upset about it and we're talking about it, but because Republicans are afraid that a Democrat's going to win next time. They're going to impeach Trump. Vance is going to be a lame duck. They're going to put Gavin Newsom in there, and then they think communism, and they're going to round them up, and here come the FEMA camps. I swear to God. And so what they want to do is limit the power of the executive branch, and they're going against Trump, who thinks he's going to be there forever because his fucking brain is fried.
Yes.
So, but it's crucial. The whatever part of it is de minimis. It takes the meaning out of what they're saying and doesn't involve you in it, like adorable. Those kind of things, like when you're dismissing it outright, and then the difficulty is not re-engaging. Yeah, that's adorable, right?
It's
that's
cute
what
that you think that. It's so cute.
Yeah, right. And you have to, because we're dealing with really serious shit, and when they try to distract from really serious shit, and I would include the Epstein stuff is serious. I would include, that there are guys who would protect people like that in positions of power, especially Pam Bondi in the DOJ. I would argue she's more damaging than Trump as president in regard to this stuff, because she could have tore up his non-prosecution agreement and said it was unconstitutional and it was wrong, and you cannot protect other criminals with a deal you made with the one you caught. That doesn't make it, especially if we don't know about them. Like, forget it.
Yeah.
But she didn't. And that's more telling than Trump just running from his past. So whenever they're spouting, great replacement theory and all that kind of stuff, our response is, because we know it's racist and bigoted, and they're decrying the humanity of immigrants and the importance of immigrants in the country, and we go all NPR on them, and I get
yes.
But they're never going to hear those words. And so the only response that will ever hit them where it hurts is, that's adorable. And I swear to God.
I'm writing it down, Hal. I'm writing it down. That's adorable.
Well, I mean, I have been saying for years that, and I talk about it on my show too, about how I don't have the patience to argue with right-wingers because they're a lost cause, and that we have to continue to evolve without them, and they'll come kicking and screaming. But in this situation, now that we're in this situation where they are in control, they have the power, their message is breaking through. And the corporate media, in my opinion, gives their message, it enables it. It gives them validity. By going and checking in on them, they'll just check in on them. How you feeling now? How you like your vote now? They never do this to normal people, to liberals, to progressives, to Democrats. They only go check in on the Trumpanzees. How you feeling now? Did you, some guy's going to lose his job. They went on CBS. I just saw a recent thing where they're like, well, these tariffs, I'm firing people. We're going to have to cut back. And, this is my family business for the past 100 years, but now we can't make ends meet. But I don't regret my vote. But they're checking in. They're checking, but by just checking in on these Trumpansies, when the only question they should ask them is, what is wrong with you? You saw January 6th. You saw the guy come down the escalator calling Mexicans rapists. You think that's okay? You think in a nation of immigrants we need a racist, a rapist?
Yes. Yes, they do.
You know?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's the thing.
Yes,
and again, that is falling back into letting them set the tone in the argument.
Right.
And,
but I mean, like,
just
the checking in on them, and it gives them, without shaming them. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. That shame.
No.
No shame.
No, shame and embarrassment are the only thing that works.
Right, that's what I mean. They need to be ashamed.
Yeah,
like, shame on you.
Well, here's the thing.
Voting for this.
Most can't. No, most can't be shamed. They can be embarrassed.
Okay.
They can't be shamed. Trump is impervious to shame, because you have to have empathy and regret to have shame.
Yes.
You have to recognize, you have to, like, a person who gets out of their car after hitting a pedestrian, even if it was an accident, is ashamed. They start touching themselves like this on their chest and going, "Oh my God, I didn't know," because they're ashamed of having hit someone, even if it wasn't their fault. Okay, because they're directly attached to the implications of the person being hit by their car. These people don't feel shame; they feel pride in outrage. If they're making you mad, that's proof they're doing the right thing, because you're the villain. And if the villain is mad, the hero is winning. That's what they think. So you can't shame them. You can only mock them.
Embarrass them.
You can only embarrass them. And there's a very distinct difference between shame and embarrassment. Shame is internal. Embarrassment is external. You have bared their ass in front of everyone.
Right.
That's
and
it.
Everyone
and it's the shame in front of everyone else.
Seeing their ass.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's the same. The same junior high mentality that they all have. It's the bullying. It's all of it is really immature. Like, they all have the same case of arrested development, and they all stop maturing around the age of 11, and they all default to the same sort of mentality. And that's another thing that we have to be louder than, because for whatever reason, their insults are louder than our truth. And that's a huge imbalance that we have to rectify. And that's why we're here. And quickly, thank you. I just quickly, because, I want to give you all the time, but I also want to welcome so many sparklers are here with us today. And thank you so much, because what it means is we're all invested in the same outcome, which is no more Trump and getting our democracy back. And so this is my moment to do the pitch. Please sign up for our Substacks. If you can support us financially, that means a lot. Today in particular, I'm asking for me specifically, drop a $10 super chat, or drop $10 into my Venmo, or sign up for my $10 Substack, because it's my 10th anniversary of getting blocked by Trump. But you can sign up for Hal, sign up for Tara, sign up for the PBN Substack, because the truth in the media, it's going to take a while for us to get it all rebalanced and whatever. Pressure from us on the mainstream media to keep the truth in the world the way the Hal tells it, the way we tell it, which is straightforward. Straightforward truth. That is the essence of why we're here and what we do every single day. And it doesn't matter if it's my blockversary or not. I'm telling the truth about this motherfucker until I don't have to talk about him anymore. And I'm so grateful for you, Hal, because I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't have this gig without you. First welcoming me on your show forever ago. I don't even remember. This is the path that you set, which is why you were our very first guest, and which is why you're this voice of reason in this loud garbage fire of a lot of lies. And I'm grateful for you and our other friend, John Fugelsang, for being here to talk to us and to talk to everybody, because when things are like, wah, and I feel like my head feels claustrophobic, I turn to you and you're like, it'll be fine. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and this is what is actually the this, and you can just come back from the ledge, Dublin. Come back.
Well, that's all. I got to say, I've said before, I practice what I call optimistic stoicism, or stoic optimism, depending on how you look at it. And that's, and I think that is actually, that optimism is the functional state of humanity. that every human being operates out of optimism, because you wouldn't eat if you didn't think you weren't going to be able to live to digest the meal. Honest to God, unless you're on death row, obviously, and even then, you're probably thinking the governor's going to call and you'll be able to take a shit tomorrow.
Right.
And everything you do, I would even argue that people who, get rid of themselves on this planet somehow think it will end the pain. And that is an optimistic view, as bad as it is. Like, that is the most egregious example of optimism, turned inward. But what I would say is that what the result of what I would call the sort of the TYT illness and the extremists in both parties kind of running the show is that it is predicated on, based on a form of nihilism. And on either side, there's a lot of similar language on the fringes. And I don't say both sides do it because that's unfair. It's the fringes all sound alike. And it's less like a spectrum left to right, like a line. It's more like a pizza. The crust around it is always crusty, no matter which side it's on. And if you rotate it, it's still crusty. And the crusty folks are always, if we don't get everything, nobody gets anything. And this is all fixed anyways, because they can't get everything they want, and they run on getting everything. So if anything's missing, they make perfection the enemy of the good. And they've got a perpetual anger machine where, it'll never be good enough, and therefore it's bad. And when you can operate a social scene like that, but you'll be a friendless dickhead after a while. You'll be the last person there, at the meeting with, green hair or a Christian lapel pin, by yourself, in a wanking basement with a youth pastor, right?
Oh, wanking basement. Is that a special church thing? They have a wank basement? I don't know these things. I'm an atheist.
I think we all know that any basement can become a wanking basement if the cars
anywhere can be.
Does it have to be a basement?
No,
okay.
But the point I'm trying to make is the fringes will always be awful because they are designed by nature to be purists, to be all or nothing, and life is never like that. And to all the people who fought incrementalism and attacked the ACA, and everybody's like, the ACA is unpopular. No, it isn't. No. It was unpopular with people who didn't want it, the maggots. That's about 30%. And then the people who thought it should have gone further. It doesn't mean they hated it. It means they thought it should go further. It's unpopular because it didn't have a public option, or it didn't have that. Those people were upset about that. But they didn't want it to not exist. So the statistics against it were a lie. But it was able to be played on by the TYTs of the world who are against incrementalism, as if everything worthwhile in life isn't based on incrementalism. Education, raising a child, health and fitness, your diet, your exercise plan, your fucking prescriptions over time, whether you're getting on them or off them. Your hair does not grow in one lump sum. It is, everything about organic growth that stays, that sticks, that has legs and value, has stops and starts, has to be trimmed, has to be modified, but it's all incremental, all of it. Right. And that's what democracy is all about. It is about incrementalism. It means if you try by the way, we always had systems where we could go all or nothing. You just killed everybody else. Well, all or nothing gives you Auschwitz.
I was just thinking
all or nothing gives you Mongolian hordes killing, turning like white mid Europeans into slaves.
I love it.
Hence the name Slavic, slave. Yes. That's where that word comes from. Yes. So that's what happens when you want it quick. The French Revolution, 70% of the people that were guillotined in the French Revolution were poor. Yeah. Were average citizens. 70% of them.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And the French Revolution, I love that history too, because it does show how you could really go off the rails, with a good, I just love the whole, trashing the halls of the rich and saying, and they left receipts saying, I took your whatever, I took your old lamp, I took your
shit. and now people who refuse to learn from history are dooming the rest of us to repeat it, and I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with dooming.
But I hear it too. I was actually, anyway, we're running out of time, but we don't have to be under the tyranny of the clock here, because I could just go like that and lower the music. But
time is a construct anyway.
Well, and I do have to run.
You do have to run. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I do.
I got more stuff to talk about, but that's okay.
Thank you, Hal.
You have to come back.
You for
I will
being
come back on anytime. We can pick up where we left off. Yeah.
And I'll see you on Monday, my friend.
And I want you to come on Tarabuster one of these nights when you're not doing a tour and all that. And I know you're at Flappers.
We need to bookend my week with Tara's. Yeah, we need.
Yes.
Yeah. And where?
Oh my God.
Where are you located, Devlin?
Me?
What city?
I'm in New York. I'm in Queens, in New York City.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you?
I'm going to be heading out to New York. I'm in Vegas/LA.
Right.
So like this weekend, I'll be in Flappers, but I'll be. And I've got the Burbstock, which is this like Burbank music festival that Nerd Halen is playing this weekend.
Awesome.
I love Nerd Halen. Nerd Halen needs to come to Portland.
Make it
again.
Yeah.
Again.
We'll make it happen. And I don't want to have to do CPR on somebody. Yeah. And then
don't do that.
It's full service show, though.
No, that happened.
Oh, man.
That happened.
And then,
I know.
But New York is next.
Oh, awesome.
New York. Yeah. We're gonna make New York happen by hook or by crook.
Okay.
So
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
All
right, everybody. Hey, Jim, thank you for being the bestest moderator, and we appreciate you. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Hey, sparklers, don't be strangers. Come back and hang out with us every Tuesday and Thursday here on the Tara Show at 2 p.m. on the East Coast and 11 a.m. on the left coast, and then Hal has 47,000 shows a week. So pretty much anytime you open YouTube, he's already there. He's already there. He's already talking. He's already being brilliant.
Infotainmentwars.com.
I love it.
Thank you.
Infotainmentwars.com. We don't need the documents. We got everything memorized. All right.
All right, guys. Listen, tomorrow, Tarabuster, 8:30 p.m. So we hang out on Friday night. Jim is the moderator over there as well. So
awesome.
Putting the link in the chat.
Also, we are marching on Monday. Don't forget, Monday, Labor Day, 50
Labor
state,
Day.
50 marches. There are marches in every state, although some people are calling it music festivals so that we won't get popped on social media. I'm giving a speech at the Portland Music Festival. So I'm performing at the Portland Music Festival. So if you're in Portland, please get in the streets with us on Monday. Are you going to march in Vegas, Hal? You going to go up to Magas and be like, how long would it have taken you to spot Epstein as a pedo? Because I count on you to take that message to the streets. All right, cool.
Oh, it's a good one.
Cool.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Thank you guys
Have
so much.
Bye. Bye-bye.